What's going on? You're watching NFL Daily. Got the latest news, rumors. We're starting the show off with Christian McCaffrey because my man got the bag. 4 years, $64 million. He is now the highest paid running back in all of football.
Yeah, it was funny to see because earlier today, ESPN was doing like their trades-only mock draft, and they traded Christian McCaffrey, and that lasted all of like 8 hours before it was wildly outdated. Obviously, Carolina not going to trade McCaffrey anytime soon. He, as you mentioned, Mitch, is now the highest paid back in the NFL. He had 2 years left on his first contract. That is his rookie contract. If you include the fifth-year team option, which, of course, the Panthers were going to pick up. They're not stupid. $16 million then becomes the new money on that 4 years, $64 million. There's going to be a ton of guarantees as well. McCaffrey gets a similar route that Ezekiel Elliott went, getting the highest paid RB moniker. Unlike Zeke, though, McCaffrey did not have to hold out, Mitch.
I also think, unlike Zeke, I think Christian McCaffrey is a running back that we haven't seen, Tom, in a very, very long time. I mean, you're looking at that. Over 1,300 rushing yards, 15 touchdowns. Dude was an absolute fantasy football beast. I believe he scored the most fantasy football points, which is probably why he got paid, right? I'm slightly kidding. But this is the big reason why I think that he does deserve a lot of money and why he does deserve to be the highest paid running back right now. I mean, he had over 1,000 receiving yards and 116 catches. That's absolutely unheard of for a running back, absolutely shattering Matt Forte's record of most receptions by a running back in the league.
Yeah, the workload kind of concerns me a little bit, although McCaffrey's been super healthy really throughout his NFL and even for at least the majority of his college career on top of that. So that makes me feel better about paying McCaffrey. And you mentioned it, Mitch, the receiving game value. I mean, you put up those stats against slot receivers. That's top-end slot receiver production. So I'm okay with this deal for McCaffrey. I think that it's still maybe a little bit of an overpay because backs tend to decline quickly. But I think that works out pretty well for them in the end. And I think in terms of the back contracts given out, McCaffrey's is the least likely to blow up in that organization's face.
That's exactly what I was going to say. So we're going to go talking about McCaffrey getting that 4 year, $64 million. That's $16 million per year. We want everyone to grade the Christian McCaffrey extension. So for those of you that are watching this on YouTube, you might get with an ad break. While that ad is playing, I want you to scroll on down and grade the Christian McCaffrey extension. A, B, C, D, or F. Let's talk about the NFL draft now. We got an update here. And Roger Goodell, by the way, we're going to be live for the entire draft. And I don't care if he's in his basement. I hope he hears the boos from Chat Sports and everyone watching. Because he plans to announce the draft picks from his basement as part of this virtual draft. And it's kind of crazy the world we're living in. But Tom, Roger Goodell, 58 prospects, they're going to be sent cameras. I mean, we already got our camera sent to us.
Yeah, look, the NFL draft will look different if you're not, enjoying it on Chat Sports. Don't know why you wouldn't be watching on Chat Sports, but if that's the route you're going to go, it is very different for just the NFL itself, even beyond just the broadcast side of it. They are sticking firm. They're going to do the NFL draft on April 23rd to the 25th. There's not going to be any delays, and Goodell's still going to try to broadcast it. Now, I've heard that they're going to set up like a green screen type background so that you can see fan reactions behind Goodell, which means I think Roger Goodell will be booed at the NFL draft still, which I am very pleased by, Mitch.
Well, I can almost guarantee we're going to have something up on screen for every single time Roger's about to, I guess, take the podium or walk downstairs, or I don't really know what it's going to look like. We're going to be telling y'all to boo. So anytime you hear Roger Goodell on this show, you better start typing boo. But the whole virtual draft test, I don't know, Tom, I saw this and I thought this was pretty interesting. So next week, there's going to be a mock draft, if you will, with all 32 teams where it's going to be just a system test to see how exactly this works, right? So picks, they're going to be submitted via Microsoft Teams. And at worst, if a team, let's say, can't figure out, because, I love my dad dearly. He's 60 years old, and I would imagine some of these GMs who are a little bit up there in age. I mean, even me, I'm not the best with technology. If something goes wrong, you're going to see a panic attack. And I think this is just maybe helping some of these owners and GMs and coaches squash some of those panic attacks.
That's exactly what this is. They're going to have a bunch of redundancies built in case, option A fails, option B is doing something similar, option C, all of those. The absolute fallback, worst case scenario that you mentioned, Mitch, is there's going to be like basically a conference call for all 32 NFL teams. Unmute yourself, make your pick. That way you don't need extra time, which sounds like the NFL's not going to give teams this time around. As part of this little mock draft test, by the way, they're also going to allow a kind of like a separate, I'll call it like a channel or a separate call-in, basically for trades to be done. So the NFL used to know how to do this because, things were all done over the phone way back when, before the draft became a national multi-day spectacle. But they're going to have to kind of dial back the clock a little bit here. And they're also, of course, a bit concerned about the hacking side of it. But I think the IT department for the NFL took care of that side.
All I can hope for, Tom, is at one point somebody forgets to unmute themselves and they say some horrible thing about Roger Goodell. I think that'd be absolutely hilarious. Now, we might talk a little bit of trash about Roger Goodell. I'm going to be honest with you. But we're also going to be live for the entire NFL draft. And last year, we were the most watched draft on YouTube, on Facebook. And here's a hint. We're going to get the picks in before you see them on television. So go ahead, subscribe, turn on the notifications, and join the #1 most watched draft show on the entire internet. So, Tom, this one just came across the desk right before we were getting ready to do the show. The NFL offseason plan is going to begin on April 20th, virtual only.
Yeah, this is a very change of everything, really, for the NFL, because they haven't had to go through this at all. So the offseason program, which was supposed to begin for some teams back a week ago on April 6th, it's actually going to begin now on April 20th. And this is the big part of it. There is no on-field work until all the team facilities. That's all 32 teams are open. That whole point of that being, well, you're not allowed to have a competitive advantage for a team, let's just say in Texas, California, that is open, unlike a team in, say, California, since California is very a little bit maybe the most concerned with this whole entire thing to begin with. NFL teams are going to get 3 weeks of this virtual period. That's going to include meetings, workouts, and really, I think the team meeting, kind of the install for teams with new head coaches are in particular. They're going to need that time there. Then on top of that, the mandatory mini camp, which only happens after the NFL draft, that could also end up being virtual only. NFL teams will get 2 hours of workout time for their players, and they can also send their players, by the way, up to 1,500 in various gear, types of workout equipment, or even trackers like Apple Watches or Fitbits to help keep, track what they're doing in terms of their workouts, how fast they're going, all that kind of stuff. They're also going to get 2 hours of classroom time, which again is that meeting, is that film study type of stuff. In total, all of those programs have to end by June 26th, but there is a real chance that not all 32 teams are going to have their facilities open in that time frame, which means it might be a virtual only little off-season program, very different than what NFL teams are accustomed to.
Let's talk about Dak Prescott, because Prescott apparently hosted a party, and the police investigated potential party. I don't know if you saw the pictures. I saw the pictures, and we'll show them to you here in just a little bit. But Zeke was also there. The Texas police unable to verify if it had been a party of over 30 people in attendance.
Yeah, so some more background here on what happened over the weekend. Dak and Zeke and TMZ Sports kind of somehow got the photos. Clearly, there was some type of event going on that Zeke and Dak were at. Clearly, people that Dak and Zeke do not live with. So that's really not social distancing. Kind of missing the whole point on that front. That's not a great look for the two players. And, Dallas police eventually did show up. They got a tip that there was a party going on. They couldn't verify how many people were there, so maybe Dak didn't let them in. Dak's camp says, no, we didn't have more than 10. Nothing was going on. Regardless of how many people were there, Mitch, this is clearly not the intent of what we're all trying to avoid right now. These people do not live with Dak and Zeke. This is not social distancing. If you can make an argument that maybe the workouts are okay, some people don't like those either. It's just a really bad look for a player, by the way, in Dak Prescott, trying to get the biggest contract in Cowboys history. It's just, at minimum, a really bad look for the two franchise stars.
And I think that's more of it, right? I mean, you're getting set to pay Dak Prescott all this money. You've already paid Zeke 5 years, $90 million. These two players are the face of your franchise, and realistically, you're trying to just set an example here. I mean, we live in Dallas. Dallas is a really fun city. But when the more and more this stuff happens, the less we're going to be trapped in our homes. And then guess what? This stuff could impact football, because the last thing we want to see is a big-time player like a Dak Prescott or like Zeke come down with the big C. So here's my question. We talked about Rudy Gobert a ton when we first had all this stuff come out. So should Dak and Zeke be punished? I want everyone right now, Y for yes, and for no. Let's get into a little bit of a debate. I saw this one on ESPN. You got to pick a franchise quarterback, okay? So basically, you're picking one of these three quarterbacks to build a franchise around. Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Joe Burrow. Tom, out of the three names that you see here, and everyone who's watching us live on YouTube as well and on Facebook, I want you to get your votes in. Pick a quarterback to build a franchise around.
I think you've got arguments for a lot of the players involved here. Joe Burrow's coming off the greatest college season we've ever seen in history, at least in modern history. Kyler Murray's actually the youngest of this group and frankly had, I think, maybe a better year than Baker Mayfield. And we've seen Baker in the NFL for 2 years now, although this most recent year wasn't his best season, Mitch.
I agree. I think, though, when you look at Baker when he came out in 2018, he was our number one quarterback for a reason. Kyler Murray was our number one quarterback last year. And Joe Burrow, yes, he just put up the season that we've literally have never seen before. But I think this new age NFL does need a little bit more of a mobile quarterback, in my opinion. And I'll actually still make the argument that I think Murray might actually have the highest ceiling because of the young age. And I'm excited to see what he's going to be able to do with DeAndre Hopkins now because they're putting a lot of talent around him. So we want you to get your votes in here. So if you got to pick a quarterback to start a franchise with, if you're going to go with Baker Mayfield, type A. For those of you that are watching this live on YouTube, Baker Mayfield turns 25 tomorrow. Okay, so let's just get that clear. April 14th. Kyler Murray, he's 22 years old, so type B. Or you can go Joe Burrow, type C. I'm actually going to type my B, Tom.
All right, I think, again, you can make arguments for all of these guys. I think I might end up being kind of close to a 33-33 split. I might lean towards Baker because I still have faith in his abilities. And remember, after year one, we felt great about Baker. Maybe there's a potential sophomore slump in the road for Kyler Murray. The age is a factor there. I actually am more inclined to cross off Burrow first because I haven't seen him play in the NFL. I know that Kyler Murray can be a franchise quarterback. Pretty sure Joe Burrow can. But I know for a fact that Kyler Murray can. I'm still going to go with Baker. I think the new coaching staff, the new front office will do great things for him. I liked Baker more than Murray coming out. Even though the 2019 was not great, I'm going to go with my A. But again, there are strong arguments, really, all three players on here.
I know you said, Tom, something about facts. I got a fact for you. I can get this NFL jersey for everyone watching for under $60. Yes, under $60. Nike NFL jerseys. You just got to go to chatsports.com/jersey deal. So if you can't remember that for some reason, we'll put it in the comments section. We'll put it in the description. But these are legit Nike NFL jerseys for under $60. Go out, rep your favorite team. They got Color Rush. You can get these in all sizes, color patterns, favorite player. You just got to go to chatsports.com/jersey deal. So, Tom, this one came in from Albert Breer. He said that three teams could potentially trade up. He mentioned the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Denver Broncos, Atlanta Falcons, but he mentioned it because these are three teams that could be looking to add a little beef to that offensive line.
Yeah, that's intriguing to me. The Bucs and Broncos obviously make sense there. I'm not as sure the Falcons do, and Breer kind of mentioned he wasn't quite sure which path Atlanta might end up going. All of those teams could try to get ahead of at 13, the 49ers, 12, Las Vegas, 11, the Jets. I think the Cleveland Browns at 10, by the way, might be a real chance, even though they're also in the market for offensive line help. But if you're the Bucs or Broncos and you want one of those offensive linemen, there is a scenario in which an offensive lineman goes 4 to the Giants, the Cardinals take one, then all of a sudden you're down to 2 of those guys, and maybe a team like the Panthers or the Chargers or even the Jags stun and end up going offensive line, and they might feel pressure to go up and make sure they try and acquire the last of those big 4 offensive tackles. I am very curious what ends up happening this year in the NFL draft. I don't know if there's going to be more trades or less trades because of all the uncertainty, especially as you get more along into day 3.
I want everyone watching us live right now to pick a cornerback. Type O for Jeff Okudah, or I want you to type H for C.J. Henderson. Now, I'm going to type my O for Okudah because I think Okudah's the top guy. Tom, would you agree that Okudah's the top cornerback?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I saw this rumor floated out here. This one's from Peter King, who I respect greatly. And again, I want everyone to continue to get your votes in. O for Okudah, H for Henderson, where the report was that CJ Henderson could be the very first cornerback drafted. And King went on to say that I bet 40% of teams in the NFL have Henderson higher on their boards than Okudah. I thought this was shocking.
There's no way. I do not believe this report for a second. It doesn't make any sense. Did we not watch Henderson last year? I know that the not the analyst, the executive that King talked to said that Henderson was the better cover guy. No, he wasn't. He wasn't better in coverage last year than Okudah. Look, I like Henderson. I think he could end up going top 10 to a team like the Jags, and I think at minimum, the 2 Jags picks kind of is maybe his ideal range in this year's draft. He's not going top 5. There's a good chance Jeff Okudah ends up going top 5. So we kind of get into silly season in the 2 weeks leading up to the draft. This is silly. There's no way Henderson is higher on nearly half the NFL draft boards than Okudah. Are there a couple? I think so, because NFL teams are weird. But Okudah's clearly better. Clearly.
So continue to get your votes in. Type O for Jeff Okudah, or I want you to type H for CJ Henderson.